So yesterday we have seen what is the nature of the electric field and what are the different charge configuration possible. Then basic charge configuration is point charge. Okay, point charge. And please remember that charge, there are two types of charge. One is positive charge and another one is negative charge. One is positive charge and another one is negative charge. In general, you know, electrons are electrons are negative and protons having positive value. Okay, நம்ம அவ்வளோ டீட்டெயிலாக போக மாட்டோம். ஸோ நம்ம வந்து ஃபார் சிம்பிளிசிட்டி வில் அசியூம் பாசிட்டிவ் சார்ஜா ஆர் நெகட்டிவ் சார்ஜா. ஓகே, அது எலக்ட்ரானா ப்ரோட்டான்லாம் அடுது. ஸோ நம்மகிட்ட இருக்கிறது பாசிட்டிவ் சார்ஜா நெகட்டிவ் சார்ஜா, அதுதான் வந்து நம்மளுக்கு இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ப்ளீஸ் ரிமெம்பர், ஸோ இஃப் இட் இஸ் எ பாசிட்டிவ் சார்ஜ், say some q, positive point charge, then how will be the electric field? Okay, yesterday we have seen for the positive charge, the electric field will be like this. Please note down, for positive charge, electric field will be like this. Again, you know how many field lines will be there. How many field lines will be there? It depends on value of the charge. It depends on value of the charge, and we have mentioned phi is equal to, say, q, or you can take capital Q or something. Okay, pi is equal to q. What is the meaning? The flux lines, number of flux lines is equal to number of charge. So that means what? Suppose, please wait a bit. Please wait 1 second. Okay, so here the psi, meaning of the psi is flux lines. Flux lines. This is the charge value. Okay, in terms of coulomb, 1 coulomb or 2 coulomb, like that. Again, the idea of this one is, say, if suppose I am having 1 coulomb of charge, again, don't think that only one number of flux lines. Okay, it is not like that, because first of all, charge and number you cannot equal first according to the unit relation. Okay, left hand side unit has to be right hand side unit. First of all, you should not do that. Okay, but what they are trying to tell, அவங்க என்ன சொல்ல ட்ரை பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, their idea is this is like directly proportional. This is like directly proportional. Number of flux lines is directly proportional to number of charge. What is that meaning actually? But the book, they will mention this only. Okay, equal only. So what is that meaning? Say suppose for 1 coulomb, if you are having 500 lines, flux lines coming out of the charge. If you are having 2 coulomb, then definitely 1000 lines will be coming out. That is the idea of this formula. Please note down. This is one of the Gauss law. Okay, total number of flux lines that is coming out of a imaginary surface. I can draw an imaginary surface like this. Okay, say plus q is my point charge. I can draw an imaginary surface. Okay, and somebody may ask, how many lines are coming out of this imaginary surface? How many lines are coming out of this imaginary surface? That is almost equivalent to the amount of charge present inside that imaginary surface. Okay, what is the idea? If the charge value increases, number of flux lines increases. Then nobody knows how many lines actually coming. Okay, because you cannot see the lines. Okay, you can feel the lines, but you cannot see how many lines are coming. Okay, you can feel the electric field or magnetic field, but you cannot see that actually. Okay, similarly, you can feel the current, but you cannot see the current. That is the idea. So you should understand this formula very clearly. Okay, flux lines, number of flux lines is directly proportional to amount of charge present inside the imaginary surface. And one more idea we have given, positive charge means electric field will be going outside. Electric field direction is going away from the charge. Electric field direction is going away from the charge. Again, where these lines will end? Now the question arises, these lines keep on going, where it will end? The idea is, okay, if in the universe, if there is only one charge, and then we assume that the opposite charge is present at infinite distance. Okay, it will end at infinite because these lines, this positive charge will be looking at some negative charge. Okay, if it is not present in nearby, we assume that it is present in infinite distance. So these lines actually will end at infinite distance if there are no charge present inside the system, inside our system. If there are some charges present, say for example, if I am having some charge minus q here, then this line will end here only. Okay, if I am having negative charge here, because positive charge and negative charge will meet up, so that line flux lines will end there itself. Okay, that is the idea. And again, one more thing we have seen that electric flux lines will never intersect each other. Not only this case, in any case, please note down that is one of the properties of electric field lines. Electric field lines will never intersect each other. Okay, if at all it is not intersecting, definitely they have to be parallel to each other. Please note down, electric field will never intersect each other, and electric field lines are always parallel to each other. Electric field lines are always parallel to each other. Okay, electric field lines. And the third property comes, electric field lines are always perpendicular to the electric field lines are always perpendicular to the source producing it. Okay, what is the source? This is the source. Source is in a point shape. Again, you can assume it as some kind of sphere. Point is also some kind of small sphere. Okay, small sphere. So all the electric field lines are coming out of that sphere. So what is the third idea? The electric field lines are always perpendicular to the source producing it. Not only in this case, in any case, these three property has to be satisfied. Sir, please clearly note down. The number of field lines depend on the total number of charge. That is the first point. Okay. Okay, that is the first point. And what is the second point? Electric field lines never intersect each other. What is the reason? They are always parallel to each other. They are always parallel to each other. What is the third point? What is the third point? Electric field lines will be perpendicular to the source producing it. Okay, this is a source. The structure of the source is what, sir? It is like a spherical surface, small point charge. You can assume it is a small sphere. So electric field is radially coming out of that sphere. So electric field lines is always perpendicular to the source producing it. Okay, these are all important points. The next question arises, if I am having a negative value of the charge, what will happen? I am having some negative value of the charge, point charge, then what happens? The field lines will be coming like this. Okay, field lines will be coming like this. Okay, if it is a positive charge, field line is going outward. If it is a negative charge, field lines will be coming inside. Again, how many field lines are coming? It all depends on pi only. Okay, if your q value is high, okay, instead of 1 coulomb, minus 1 coulomb, if you have minus 2 coulomb, then 2 psi lines will be coming inside. Again, amount of flux lines depends on the amount of negative charge present inside the system. Okay, you should be very clear. If it is a positive charge, the flux lines will be going outwards. Okay, or if it is a negative charge, the flux lines will be coming towards inside. Okay, coming towards inside. Okay, like this it happens. Then next question arises, if there are both positive charge and negative charge, what happens? See, I am having a positive charge like this, negative charge like this. Okay, again, to understand this, what you have to do first? First, for positive charge, you draw the lines. Okay, you don't worry about the negative charge. For positive charge, you draw the line like this. Okay, then for negative charge also, you draw the line like this. Okay, then you make a superposition principle. You make a superposition principle. In this case, in this area, definitely these two things will get added. So, okay, so what is happening? From the positive charge, the field lines are going outwards. Okay, like this it is going, because it is positive. The negative charge, field lines will be coming inside. Okay, now what happens? Once if you add these two things, what happens? Please imagine yourself. See, this will be connected like this. This will be connected like this. This will be connected like this. Again, one line will be connected like this. This will be connected. This will be connected like this. To the best possible extent, they will connect each other, and the remaining things goes to infinity. Okay, this is the idea of the electric field of two sources, which is having opposite charges. Okay, positive one is having positive charge and another one is having negative charge. What is the idea? First of all, you make the electric field lines for only positive charge. It goes spherically outwards, and only negative charge it goes spherically inwards. Then you add both, you will get finally the electric field lines for a charge configuration of plus q and minus q. The name of this configuration is what? Dipole. Okay, what is dipole? Whenever there are two charges separated by some distance, two equal and opposite charges, equal magnitude, okay, equal magnitude but opposite value, plus and minus, is separated by some distance d, then it forms a dipole. It forms a dipole. Okay. Again, what is the field configuration of dipole? This is the field configuration of dipole. Okay, sir. Yes. Next. Okay, now today we have seen what is the configuration, electric field configuration for a positive charge and negative charge. And yesterday itself we have seen the number of lines depends on the amount of charge. Okay. Then we have introduced one parameter called flux density. Flux density. This is very simple, sir. Flux density is number of flux lines per unit area. Please note down the unit is like this, coulomb per meter square. But what is the realistic idea behind this? What is electric flux density? Electric flux density means number of, please note down in your notes, number of flux lines per unit area, number of flux lines per unit area, number of flux lines per unit area. Okay, so what happens, what we have proved yesterday, once flux lines can be increased, once if you increase amount of the charge, definitely if amount of charge is high, you will create more number of flux lines, then you will have more flux density when R is constant. Okay, or otherwise in the second case, if Q is constant, okay, how your flux density varies with respect to R square, because you are in a spherical coordinate system. Okay, anything that varies with the distance will vary with R square, and also 4 pi comes into the picture. So what is happening, once Q is constant, if you increase your R, that means you are increasing your imaginary surface or radius. Once if you increase your imaginary spherical radius, your flux density will decrease, because Q you have fixed. Okay, Q you have fixed. So then what is the final formula? I told the final formula D is equal to Q divided by 4 pi R square. Q divided by 4 pi R square. Why it is 4 pi R square? Because you are on the sphere surface. Okay, sphere surface of the sphere. So again, what is another way of writing this? Q you can replace by psi 4 pi R square. Psi means what? Number of flux lines. This is area. That's why unit of this one is flux lines per unit area. The number of D can be written as flux lines per unit area, or otherwise coulomb per meter square. Both are okay. Coulomb per meter square also you can write. If it is Q, you can write coulomb per meter square. If it is I, you can write flux lines per unit area. Okay, flux lines per unit area. Okay, psi. This is the flux lines. And one more thing, you please note down. This psi is independent of medium. Say here they will introduce one more term called medium properties, epsilon. Okay, medium properties, epsilon. This D, flux density, is independent of medium. Flux density is independent of medium. What is the meaning of that? What I am telling now, the D is, please note down clearly, the D is independent of medium properties. Independent of medium properties. The D is independent of medium properties. What is the meaning of this? Say I am having some charge plus Q charge. Now I am created some number of lines, sir. So with the charge I can create some number of lines. How many lines I have put? Around 8 lines. Okay, with some amount of charge I have created some amount of electric field lines. Okay, and then what happens? Say again, previously my medium was like air. Now in this case, what I am planning, I am planning to put some other medium. Okay, some other medium, some other medium instead of air. Here I am putting some other medium. Okay, you know that electric field or electromagnetic field can pass through any medium. That's why I have told you to do that experiment, mobile experiment. It can pass through a plastics kind of things, non-conducting material. So if I am putting some new medium which is of non-conducting nature, okay, please be careful about that. Whenever I am putting any medium, that medium is of non-conducting nature. Okay, the new medium may be water or maybe anything else. Okay, some new medium. So for a new medium, that that permittivity is epsilon. For the new medium, that permittivity is epsilon. What is the permittivity of the air? If it is air, the permittivity of the air is epsilon naught. If it is some other medium other than air, the permittivity is epsilon. Again, once again, I will explain in okay, what is actually permittivity. For the time being, you assume that there is a term called permittivity. There is a term called permittivity. So what happens even if you go for a new medium? Okay, even if you go for new medium, there will not be any change in the number of flux lines. Okay, even if you change the medium properties, the number of flux lines still remains the same. That is the idea. That's why what they are telling, it is independent of medium properties. It is independent of medium properties. But one thing will happen. Okay, the electric field strength will decrease, because so far we are discussing only about flux density. What is electric field lines, E field lines we have to discuss. Okay, so at this time, please note down that flux density is independent of epsilon, independent of medium properties. Let it be any medium, water, air, or anything else, something else. That flux lines or flux density, number of flux lines is independent of medium. But please note down one thing, that strength of each field may vary. Number of flux lines is same, but strength of the individual lines may vary. In a case of air, the strength may be high. In other cases, the strength may be low. In other cases, strength may be low. That we have to look into later. Okay. Okay. So, and again, then we will see what is now we are seeing what is D. D is equal to what, sir? Q divided by 4 pi r square. Okay, this is flux density. Then what is the strength? Okay, you are having some flux density. So if you are on a fixed imaginary surface, if r is fixed, your flux density is fixed, because already q is fixed. Okay, now say like this. Say you are having some charge. Again, some lines are coming. Okay, it's okay. You are at some imaginary surface. Okay, and again, what is the strength of each lines that is coming outside? What is the strength of each lines? The strength of each lines is called E field, electric field lines. Please note down. E field means what, sir? Electric field. Indirectly, it is giving you what? Strength of the flux lines. Please clearly note down. E means electric field. That you know already. Everyone knows. And again, what is the hidden meaning? E field means strength of the flux lines. Already you know what is flux lines. Now it is giving you strength of the flux lines. Electric field, strength of flux lines. Strength of flux lines. That's why sometimes they used to write as a electric field strength, E field strength. Instead of simply E, they will write E field strength, electric field strength. Okay, are you all getting this? Okay, so E means what, sir? Electric field strength. Okay, now we know what is D. D is equal to Q divided by 4 pi r square, because you are in a spherical system. Charge gives you the electric field radially in all direction, in a three-dimensional direction. That's why here 4 pi is coming. Okay, now then what is the relation between the electric field and Q? What is the relation between the electric field and Q? Okay, so the relationship is like this. D is equal to epsilon E. D is equal to epsilon E. Then E is equal to what, sir? E is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon r square. Okay, okay, this will give you the electric field strength directly. Okay, at a given situation, you are standing on some point. Once if you fix Q and R, directly you can get electric field strength. But please note down, your strength, electric field strength depends on epsilon. Please note down, your electric field strength depends on epsilon. Okay, so clearly note down in your notes, electric field is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon r square. E field depends on epsilon, that is depends on epsilon, that is medium properties. Different medium will have different epsilon, medium properties. different medium will have different properties. Okay, so electric field is depends on epsilon and medium properties. Please be careful. E field depends on medium properties, but D value is independent of medium properties. D value is independent of medium properties because in that equation you are not getting any epsilon. And again, somebody may have a doubt, sir, when I am writing D is equal to epsilon E, D depends on E. You may think like that. Then what is happening for E? It is directly proportional to epsilon, but in the E, when you write a equation for E, 1 by epsilon comes. So they will cancel each other. Please don't worry about that. Okay. So what I'm telling, electric flux density is independent of medium properties, whereas electric field depends on medium properties. Please be careful and note down in your notes. Okay. Next, what we are going to do with the help of with the epsilon, I am keeping all other parameter constants are okay. When I am going to analyze one parameter, I have to keep remaining parameter constant. Okay, now I am going to keep Q constant, R constant. Now I am going to vary epsilon. Then what happens for E? Then what happens for E? Okay, and again epsilon. Okay, see that epsilon value, the epsilon value for air. Generally, the epsilon can be expressed as epsilon naught and epsilon r. Epsilon naught and epsilon r. For air, epsilon r is equal to 1. Simply for air, you will get epsilon naught. Okay, you will get epsilon naught. Epsilon naught is some value, sir. This is some value. Anyway, we will substitute that there. Okay, and for any other medium other than air, that epsilon r will be greater than 1. It cannot be less than 1. So what I am telling, simple idea, any other medium other than air, other mediums, epsilon r has to be greater than 1 only. Other medium, epsilon r has to be greater than 1 only. Okay, now